If your orchestration is 5 cron jobs and a shared calendar, then you are capping your data engineering career full stop. You might not feel it yet, but your manager does. Every platform definitely does. Quick gut check. How many separate schedules does it take to refresh your main executive dashboard right now? 1, 3, 17? If that number is higher than 1, then this video is for you. I learned this the hard way. I worked at an org that ran everything on Cron. Dozens of jobs, scheduled in AWS ECS, looked automated in all of the right slide decks. In reality, things ran fine until one job did not finish on time. Then the circus started. Slack started blowing up. Did your job run? Can you rerun that step? Someone digging through logs every time something failed on some mystery box. Everyone praying that reports would come back before the business realized that they were blind. That was normal. Write more scripts, add more cron, hope that nothing drifted. Then I moved into a senior role at a new company and met actual orchestration. They had hundreds of jobs coordinated by an orchestrator. Nothing downstream started until the steps finished behind it. Independent branches kept running even if one path happened to fail. If a file didn't land on time, then the pipeline degraded gracefully instead of imploding in on itself. Here is the part no one tells you. This company was doing well over 10 times the revenue of their closest competitors. Not just because of orchestration, but you don't outrun your market if your data team lives in log files and manually reruns every morning. That contrast rewired how I think about data engineering. Now, by the end of this, you will know when cron is fine, when it's reckless, and how to explain orchestration like a senior engineer, whether you are on Airflow, Lakeflow, DLT, or anything in between. Let's start with cron and be honest about it. You might have had maybe a Databricks job that runs a single notebook at 2 a.m. Maybe you had a script that copies files into your landing zone, or a Lakeflow Connect pipeline that lands maybe 1 or 2 sources into some tables. All of that's fine. The problem is what most teams don't actually do. They do that 10 times. Ingestion on one schedule, transformations on another, aggregations on another, different servers, different owners, different logs. No one place that you can point to and say, this is that pipeline, and where you need to look to monitor all of it. Mentally list your main revenue impacting report. Now, how many different cron jobs, notebooks, or scheduled tasks have to run perfectly for that report to be right at 8 a.m. when your sales team walks in? If the answer is, I don't know, that's a problem. At that first company, this was daily life. When timing happened to line up by accident, everything looked perfect. When one job slipped, everything around it went sideways. No one gets promoted for babysitting scripts. You move up when you own the systems. Now, let's talk about orchestration. Not the buzzword, the real thing. Orchestration is not run this at 2 a.m. It is make the whole flow succeed or fail in a controlled manner. Picture a simple lakehouse pipeline. Real orchestration knows what runs first, what depends on what to retry and how many times to retry it, when to stop a chain instead of corrupting everything downstream, when to alert a real person to step in, and how long each step should actually take. At that second company, this was normal. If an upstream job failed, the orchestrator paused the dependent steps. Branches that did not depend on that failure kept flowing. Alerts went right to the person that was responsible that would know how to fix it. There was a status page that you could check instead of ping 5 people in Slack and hope and pray that they're all paying attention. In Databricks land, orchestration might look something like this. Lakeflow declarative pipelines that define bronze, silver, and gold dependencies. Delta live tables enforcing expectations before pushing data downstream. ADF or some other orchestrator driving multiple Databricks jobs and BI refreshes. Here is the core difference and why I want you to remember this. Automation asks, did this job run? Orchestration asks, Did the system do what the business needed from beginning to end? Senior engineers live in that second question. That is why they get pulled into strategy conversations instead of just ticket queues. Let's do something that's probably going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to draw a pipeline a lot of you are secretly running. The painful part may be my drawing. And we will be completely honest about it. So here's my drawing. Now, this is how it behaves. Every box here has its own schedule. None of them actually know if the previous one succeeded. If CRM is late, transform scripts still fire. Dashboards refresh on half-baked data, and everyone wonders why numbers look wrong this week. If that looks like anything that's in your world right now, here's the hard truth. You did not build a data platform, you built a collection of alarms. And your leadership knows it because they feel the symptoms. Fire drills, Slack threads at 6:30 in the morning, mysterious last refreshed 2 days ago labels on critical dashboards that they need to make decisions. This is where Cron stops being helpful little automation and becomes architecture debt and your career glass ceiling. The good news is this is 100% fixable, and fixing it is exactly what makes you look like a senior engineer. I'm not saying never use Cron. I'm saying know where it belongs. Cron and simple automation are fine when you have a single low impact job, when there are no real SLAs to worry about, when one person or a small team depends on it and not the whole company. Or maybe it's a utility job, not a core product of your data. For example, maybe you have a helper table that refreshes nightly, and if it fails, you have time in the morning to fix it, or it actually changes so rarely that it really doesn't matter. No one is setting pricing or signing contracts based off some change that happened in that table. Use Cron and sleep like a baby. Now, on the other end, you absolutely need orchestration when there are multiple hops or layers in the pipeline, when you have complex dependencies, when different teams depend on fresh data at specific times. There are maybe internal or even external SLAs that have to be met. When a missed run means real money lost, real customers leaving the company, or real embarrassment publicly. Simple rule: if breaking the job ruins somebody's morning, you need orchestration, not more cron jobs. Keep stacking timers. Keep stacking timers instead of designing a system, and you are basically announcing, I think in scripts, not in whole platforms. That is what stalls your data engineering career while other people pass you by. Let's bring this into the room that matters, your interview and your performance reviews. You will get some version of this question. How did you design a nightly pipeline for sales data? Here's your junior answer that you're probably using now. I would write a notebook, ingest the data, schedule it, then another notebook for my transformations, schedule that, and then a scheduled dashboard refresh after everything else completed. 3 scheduled things, no dependencies, no expectations, no failure plan. You just told the panel that you think like a job scheduler, not an engineer. Here is your senior answer. I would ingest from the source system into my bronze layer, then orchestrate transformations into silver and gold with explicit dependencies. I would add data quality checks and retries with alerts on failures or slow runs so I get immediate feedback. Finally, I would orchestrate the BI refresh as a downstream step so that reports only update when valid, complete data has landed, and I'm not wasting compute either. Same cloud, same general tools available, totally different mental model. On the job, this difference sounds like, my script failed last night, I'm sorry. Versus, we had an upstream failure, orchestration caught it, held the downstream steps, and let us know what was going on. Here is the impact window and what we're changing so it doesn't happen again, and when your data is going to be there. One is someone who can write code. The other is someone you can safely give the revenue critical pipeline to. Guess which one of these gets the scary career making projects and which one ends up working at the 10x revenue company instead of the one tripping over cron. Let me give you something concrete that you could take and use right now. For any pipeline that actually matters, walk through this 4-step checklist. Step 1, dependencies. Write down in plain language what must run before what. No tools, just reality. Source, raw, refined, aggregates, reports. If you cannot explain that order, you can't orchestrate it. Step 2, what are your SLAs? Decide what on time and good enough looks like. Sales dashboards ready by 7 a.m. with complete prior day data. Write that down. Now you have something to design around. Step 3, failure behavior. For each check, decide if this fails, what should happen? Stop everything, skip this branch, but keep others, retry 3 times, then alert. This is what separates orchestration from hope. Step 4, alerts and visibility. Who needs to know what and how? Is it a pager? Is it an email? Is it Slack? Is it a status page? And what do they see when they look? A clean DAG with a red node, not a mystery timer that silently died. If you do these 4 steps on paper, then move that design into whatever orchestrator you have, you are thinking like a senior. Whether it's Lakeflow, Airflow, DLT, ADF, it doesn't matter. The thinking, the concept is the same. This is the stuff your manager cannot easily teach you in a ticket comment. You learn it by designing real systems instead of just adding cron jobs. If you are watching this and mentally counting all your cron jobs in your head, here's your next move. Step 1, pick the pipeline that actually matters the most. Not a helper table, something that when it breaks, real meetings start to fall apart. Step 2, run that 4-step checklist on it. Dependencies, SLAs, failure behavior, alerts, and visibility. Step 3, move that one pipeline into real orchestration. Use Lakeflow, DLT, ADF, Airflow. Get it under one orchestrator with very clear dependencies. Now, step 4, ship that, then share it with everybody. In stand-ups, in one-on-ones, in your interviews. I took our sales pipeline from 3 independent cron jobs into a single orchestrated flow with dependencies, retries, expectations, and clear alerting. We went from random fire drills to a predictable SLA. That is how your name ends up in promotion conversations instead of who's on the cutting block next week. Now, I want you to be honest. Drop one word in the comments that describes your world right now. Cron, if it's still a mess of timers, and orchestration if you actually have a real orchestrator and you're proud of it. And if you're brave, tell me what your worst cron horror story is. Was it the forgotten job on this dead server? Was it the report that stopped updating and nobody noticed for weeks? The pipeline that you were too scared to touch? Those stories are really what other engineers need to hear, especially freshers. If your current setup is a 10 cron job and a prayer, this is the kind of thing that I help engineers and teams fix. Moving from scattered automation to real orchestration and a data platform leaders can trust instead of just tolerate. Check out my Data Engineering 101 content for more on designing proper pipelines. And if you are the person that everyone pings when the cron chain breaks and you're tired of that being your whole identity, there are links in the description for coaching and consulting.